Right. I think we're set up. Welcome back.
Welcome.
Ready to go again. Thanks for joining us here.
Weird games.
Oh, look at that. We're on synchronicity. All right, we're all in tune.
Synchronized.
Sure. I've got too many pencils out. Would you like have a Vader? All right.
Sure.
So, yeah, Papa Weird here.
And Weirdling.
Sure, Weirdling. I got Lob out today. Lob hasn't seen any adventure for many long time. Very
And
sad.
Gus.
And Gus. Hello, Gus. All right, so we did that catch up yesterday, right?
Yeah.
And I pretty much only got it just uploaded today. Okay, so
Two videos in one day.
Okay, kinda. Is it? Oh, double upload. Well, more like getting back to it and trying to catch up again. So yeah, yesterday we went through what we did while we were sick. Yeah, and what we managed to get done and drawn up.
How many days was it?
It was like 17 or something worth of days.
That's not many days.
We got about 5 days worth of work today for Lob to catch up with. We are going to be doing actually. We will sort of just talk very quickly about where we got up to. We exited the blood bunny burrows, right, with the blood bunny family, and
the claustrophobia.
Sure, yeah, of crawling through their tunnels and burrows and stuff, right? And when you fell those 4 fell creatures, the smoky haze dissipates, right, away from the gate here, and there's a big cobblestone path that leads out of the gardens, right? And you follow it down. Eventually you realize that you're going to end up at a church, a monastery, an abbey. I'm not sure what you'd prefer to call it. It doesn't stay like that for very long. By the time they get there, at the end of it, they have at the end of the path they have a guardhouse and stables. All right, so, and in the guardhouse they got
people.
Yeah, moth folk, and in the stables are some gore elementals, right?
Yeah.
Disguised as horsey head peoples. Sure, scary. Yeah. So then they got at the gate, right? And so it's a big stone wall, right? Nicely sort of constructed in that sort of Victorian sort of
era.
Yeah, setting motif, yeah, with big ornate gateway that they can open it up. All right, once they've dispatched the guards here, the moth folk and the gore elementals, they can open up, and they'll be entered into like the abbey, right? So which we're calling it colony. We're gonna have illithids and which are mind flayers in the book, right? They do refer them, I think, as mind flayers mostly. But they are otherwise known as illithids. And they're elder brain. We're having an elder brain, right? They're at that point where they're fighting big chunky boys like elder brains and cool things, right?
Level 13,
so 13 now, 14 by the time they're finished, right? So what we're going to do is building the colony. We have, if you want to go over to that, turn over the other screen so we can have a look at the bit of the video over there. All right, we all turn and look. All right, what's going on over there? So this is a monastery. Scroll up a little bit and you should be able to see the name of it, right? So yeah, this is generally what we based it on the other day to make sure we had all of the buildings covered. So you will be able to see as we go through nearly all of these buildings. We have set them out instead of going top to bottom. We've more gone, because of the way the book is, right? We went left to right in our setting. So where are we here? Can we see that? Oh, I've got that there. You can see that, yeah. So up in the top corner screen on whatever you can see that we've got like gardens and a glass house. We have the actual abbey in the middle with its altars, and we have, what's that up in the top right corner? I think it was P, is it?
Yeah, P, where is
Do you see
P?
what it says there? I think, like, the ones off the side, this is the vestry. This is where they keep all the, and the sacraments, right? So, and then in the library, so we've kept these rooms the same. There's dorms, there's doctors, infirmary and the doctor's chambers. there's
Yeah, I can't find
turrets.
P.
You'll see that it is here, P 1 and 2, right, on the side of these altars. Now, over here, you will see it says P1 is the scriptorium, so that's a library, right? This is where they keep the books and the Bibles and all the other stuff, right? And P2 is the sacristy and the vestry. So this is where they keep the sacraments and the vestments, right? So the little braziers and if it was a Christian church, like a Catholic church, they'd keep the wine and the wafers back here. The vestry is the vestments, so this is what they wear. They keep the special hats and cloaks and stuff back here, right? So we're going to transform those into other little rooms, and at the back of them, underneath where this altar is at the top here, we're going to have a secret way down to where the elder brain is living. Yeah, under there.
In its hole.
So they'll have to go through one of these rooms to get down there. And this V, which is actually Nave. I'm not sure what. I'm pretty sure that.
The nave.
Yeah, no. This is referring to what is the general part of the cloister where all the pews are, and everybody would either sit or stand in there as they give their ministrations, right? So this area is going to be the large illithid pool, okay? Because so we're going to turn that into. Let's have a look at Volo's here and go through to. Volo's guide. A lot of the monsters end up in the Mordekainen's guide to monsters, right? So, but it left out a lot of this stuff, all the lore and these things. So we're going to have the Elder Brain Chamber. That's what's sitting underneath the pools and under the hidden altar. And we're going to have cleansing chambers. We're going to have transformation rooms. They're going to be quarters all around the place for where they're going to be able to live and work. There's going to be the resting pool is the central one, which is where, you know, like I said, that area. We're going to take out all the pews and put a big water in there and flood it all and put lithids in there. A brain library. So this is where, so what they do is they collect brains out of creatures and stuff, right? They collect their brains out, and the ones that they don't directly feed into the elder brain pool so that it can absorb them, they keep in these libraries and stuff, right? Like there's a big explanation in this book about what all these rooms do and stuff. So we're going to be doing that. Oh yeah, we got a prison. We turned one of the room settings over into a prison, right? So we got that. We got guard rooms. It's essentially we're going to have illithids with they got, like, what do they got? Intellect devourers run around with them, and they got little cranium rats, right? So they got these rat creatures that have been transformed by the illithids.
What is it? Beholders.
And transform beholder. We got one of those as well that we can kind of put in that sort of floats around. 1 or 2. They're only CR5. You could probably put them in with a crew. You put one in with the doctor or something in the lab. So we're going to be turning this abbey. Oh, wrong one. Where was it? Oh, this one here. This abbey into the into this hive. And we've done most of that on the layout. What we pretty much have to talk about is each of the days in the rooms and go through and populate them. Now, the idea, I think, is that the best way to do this is I have set up over here. Let me have a look back on the screen. Let's jump back over for a second to this one.
Okay.
All right.
Stay here.
You know, you can come across, right? I have gotten inside the book some setup for where we're going to go. So the colony will be able to put all of the different mind flayers and their beasts and stuff that are in here. Okay, they'll fill this up with that as like the colony, right, of what's living in there. Now the idea is that we're not setting it up as this is a 5-room encounter, you know, and it's sort of an enclosed space, and this is 5 rooms over here, that's an enclosed space. No, this is sort of, as you see in that design, this is close to what, 15. So we start at day 7 and we have to go through to day 31, right? So it's 23 days of the month, right, that we're doing, and we're going to fill a lot of this up with these workers and these creatures inside this space. And then it's going to be on the adventuring party to work out how they approach that, and hopefully not outright spook the entire place and bring down the weight of, we got at least 4 or 5 specialized illithids, and then a series of probably 3 or 4 secondary sort of generals underneath them, and then we'll probably have as just normal mind flayers straight out of the book as the CR7s that sort of roam in the place and live in the place. We'll probably have another 7 to 10 on top of that. Okay, so they will sort of be in clusters, so there'll be 2 or 3 in this one place around the doctor's lab. There'll be 2 or 3 over here in the over in the transformation hall, right? There'll be 2 or 3 or 4 hanging out in the pool, in the illithid pool. And the idea is that how they approach this is after they've cleared out the guardhouse and the stables and they're willing to attack it, it's going to be a they're sort of trying to break into these guys who will know they're coming. The Elder Brain will be aware of what's happening in this vicinity. They have a large amount of awareness, so they will be able to put these things on enough alert that they know something is coming. But you don't have to necessarily go through the front gate. There'll be opportunities to either go over one of the walls. There's a well that has the tunnel out to the other dry well. So that at least
claustrophobia.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, if they're not tired of crawling around bunny burrows and tunnels, then they can crawl through illithid tunnels with cranium rats running around in it.
Are you gonna give us any respawns or
respawns?
Yeah.
What's a respawn?
Like
Fortnite boy, what are you talking about?
No, like try the month again.
Oh, I don't know what you do in that a chance of an absolute player kill. I probably wouldn't do that straight away. I think what would happen is
A bottled water.
Oh yeah, no brands, no branded deals here. All right, as we drink our Korean green teas. The idea is that you wouldn't just die outright. You would be captured and you would be placed in probably in either the prisons or the transformation hall, and you would either be in a process of having tadpoles put into you, or maybe soon, say someone's already had one of the tadpoles, like the NPCs you've dragged along. Well, they've already got a tadpole in them, and they tell you about the horror story and what happened, and then you have to escape before this happens to you, right? So then you might kill a couple and escape out through the front gate if you can get out. So the idea is that you don't take this place in one big go, or if you do, it's like, oh, we ninja seal the ninja seals, Navy seals, ninja seals, sure, right? Yeah, you just go in covert, knock on one of the doors, bang, 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 couple of dead illithids, go into the next one, knock doors, bang, 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 some more dead illithids, right? No noise, no chance for them to telepathically, instantaneously communicate with the Elder Brain what's going on. You see, that's one of the problems you're going to have to deal with here, okay?
Just bring a party of rogues.
So what we have is, part of the effects of being inside the colony is that you are, where should I write this? I'll probably put it down here. I've written it down in a note, but you are, the effects of being here, is it a monastery? An abbey? We'll just call it an abbey, whatever. So in this abbey, the effects that are ongoing, other than the fact is you still have the spell.
Still in the soupy grayness?
Yeah, still in the Veil of Soupy Grayness, right? That is controlled by this the Beholder. So when the spell gets cast and they fail their save, right? Page 152 of the other book. Now, where did I put that? I think that was back over there. Anyway, I think it was like a DC 14 intelligence save. You cast any kind of spell or blessing, and if you fail it, the spell still goes off, but you take a point of exhaustion. And that is the Elder Brain sucking the life out of you. It has been the entire time that you've been in this grayness, because the Elder Brain is holding this domain together, all right? This is their domain. Okay, we'll have to give him a name, like Brian or something. Brian the Brain. James, the Big Brain. All right, sure. So down here in the hidden altar, with stairs down there, rest.
James the Brain.
James The brains. Sure, great. I love it. All right, so James the Brains, the Mr. Elder Brain, living down there, he's a CR14. He's later going to have some Illithids with him and, you know, like devourers. And yeah, he's just not going to sit in his, like, Elder Brain goo and, like, just get nom 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 by the barbarian seal. Right, that's just not going to happen. We're not going to let it. All right.
Yeah, because don't Elder Brains have like really low HP?
Yeah, but they don't really move around much either. Where's this? In this book, there's my Elder Brains, right? If you'd like to have a look in there, have a look.
Inside glass with their Elder Brains.
Well, this one is going to be inside like a natural pool underneath where the other, like, so you got the main pool sitting here, which is upstairs where all the pews have been taken out of.
Oh yeah,
there's altars are broken at either end.
Thing.
Oh yeah, it is in that book. Oh great, sure, they do have the Elder Brain layers and stuff in there. Okay, so yeah, he's sitting in a goo sort of cavern underneath the hidden altar. All right, so you go down the stairs.
Yeah, the Elder Brain is not very buff.
Yeah, like that. They got a lot of hit points, right? But look, they don't move. They got like 5 feet movement or swim 10 feet within their brine, right? So they're not going anywhere. But they do have like what, tentacles? How long on that tentacle? 30 feet tentacles. So the idea is that they're in they're probably going to be in a 30, 40 foot pool that they can move around from one side to another in, and it's filled with other little brains that it's consuming in its gooness, that it has its knowledge that it's sucking out of them, right, at any time. And the idea is that, yeah, they don't really get out. They can only sort of attack 30 to 35 feet at any time, other than what, their spells. They get some spell casting and stuff like that. They got what, Mind Blast? What's that? What's the range of the Mind Blast? 60 feet? And spell casting, yeah, they got some psionics. So if you wanted to beef them up, you just give them more spells. Whether more psionic spells, out of the book there, it tells you where there's a psionic version of these Elder Brain of the Mind Flayers. Sorry.
Should we give the Elder Brain 2 phases? Like they have to beat an Elder Brain first, and then it regains all of its health and spawns like 2 Illithids.
Oh, well, I mean, you can do stuff like that. I mean, that's a little video gamey, but sure. You can get down to the point where, oh, like, it looks really bloody and they're getting, you know, like, people think, oh, yeah, okay, so it's only got, like, 10% of its hit points left. And it's like, but as you see, it's getting bloody. Yeah, it eats all the brains out of it, and it seems to get a whole heap of vitality back. And, like, it seems that, like, it's pulsing and there's a sensation in the air of, like, a psychic pressure pushing on you. And it's like, oh, all right, now, so then you would, like, double the range of the Mind Blast and double its damage output. So, yeah, look, 32. Look, if you had 32, your barbarian can't actually absorb the psychic damage. They take full damage from psychic damage. I know there are some other ones that can be resistant to psychic damage, but I'm pretty sure your barbarian's still taking full damage. But anyway, even still, that 32 is not so much of a deal to handle if they're getting all of the, you know, they're getting a jump on this thing and they all just smash it and they eat 210 of its hit points in one round, which could be possible at that level. Then yeah, you want it to know that, oh, it gets its hit points back, but now it's beefier. It can shoot 60 damage worth of whatever. And well, sure, it calls out. And it's like somewhere you thought there was all the Illithids accounted for in the compound, but it starts to pull in for other ones. It's like, oh, there was one over in the animal husbandry section that you didn't realize was working over there that gets pulled down. And then, you know, so other Illithids can be brought in. So now it's got 2 more followers to help, right? So you could do something like that with ads. You can do something with enhancing its hit points and enhancing its abilities if you wanted to. But anyway, that's not right until the end. That's the end of the month on the 31st. Anyway, we gotta, like I said, there are effects that are going on at the Abbey, and one of them is still the exhaustion. All right, the exhaustion from spells. Okay, like I said, I think it was a DC 14, so not very difficult to save, and also. I think that was what, page 152, room 152. Oh, it is there, just in a different part at the end. All right, so they didn't put it like Volos. They didn't put it all in together in one part and talk about all the layers and then have all the beasts. They've kind of put the temple stuff in with the beasts themselves.
Yeah.
All right, the different layers in with that. All right, okay. Where are we?
The effect of the...
So yeah, sure, there's an exhaustion effect, and then we'll have one of the others is the feeling of being watched. And this is where I was saying that once you come into the effect of this place, like the stables and the guardhouse, and you cross over that threshold, you are being essentially watched. Not so much that like Sauron's eye is on you, right? Like you don't have the one ring out at the minute, okay? But feeling of being watched, because the second you talk telepathy to another person, like try to whisper to them, or if you've got any of those abilities where you can telepathically speak to another person for a single message or more, right? The elder brain can hear that and know about it. You'll have that feeling of, oh, you feel like somebody was listening in on your conversation as you were saying that.
As soon as you enter the Abbey, you feel like a presence watching you.
Yeah. Well, that's how you sort of give it away, whether they do and whether it just sort of gives them that goosebumps thing of like, oh, is there something really watching me? Well, sure, that's one thing. But if they start to speak or project or do anything with psionic or telepathic influence, the elder brain is going to be able to overhear that and be able to possibly even interact with it. Like if you're speaking telepathically and you're talking back to the other person, you get their message back, and then you think that the conversation's over, and then all of a sudden all you hear is ha 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 ha, very, very funny. I now know you're coming for me and where you are. Watch out.
I know your location.
Sure, ninja lithids, go.
Latitude 253.
Yeah, you're going to pinpoint them within the thing. I'm not sure.
6521.
This place exists in a place where longitudes and latitudes don't even exist anymore, all right? This is a veiled domain, right? Anyway, so telepathically they can hear teleconvos.
Teleconvo.
Yeah, and projections can be heard, right?
The planar,
and interacted with.
The planar shifter.
Right. Well, I think it would be a good surprise. It'd definitely be something, people who have relied on possibly talking telepathy or sending whispers or messages now have to think of a different way to communicate with each other, or wonder if they have been overheard or not, or what the range of it is, and when they, it puts a paranoia in your brain, right?
Yeah.
So let me see. Oh, and any of these people who fail this exhaustion, right? While they're in this area of the Abbey, where the elder brain specifically has control, okay, they're going to have to make a second save. All right, they take their exhaustion, and they need a wisdom 18 DC save. All right, okay, versus having a psychic link. All right, so
that's a pretty high thing.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Some of them are going to have a lot better. Like the paladin's not going to have to worry about it, right? Or the cleric,
but a spell?
No, like that point where they cast their spell and they fail their exhaustion. So that one's only a DC 14 intelligence, right? So they should be able to make that. But if they fail that, then they take their exhaustion. Now, if they're in the range of the Abbey, right, then they're going to have another save, and this one's a bit higher. 18, still quite reasonable at level 13 now, right?
Yeah.
So what they'll be able to do is they will have to make a subsequent save of 18 DC. Otherwise they're going to form a psychic bond, right? And they'll get a save, resave every day, right? So every 24 hours, because there's not really days here. Resaves every 24, right? Or else what happens is then that the elder brain can actually look and hear through you. Can't speak through you, but now there's a psychic bond, and you just know that it's in your mind. Oh man, I wish I shouldn't have done that spell. I knew I was going to fail. Now this thing's in my head. I'm sure it's in my head. It can hear me. I can hear its thoughts. It keeps whispering at me. It wants to eat my brain, man. Right? Yeah. Eat your brain. Oh, I'm so hungry. All right. So we can have that going on for him. All right. So you get a feeling of being watched in here. This thing can overhear your tele convos, right, and your projections, right, your astral projections and stuff like that, because it's on that psionic level. And also, if you fail your exhaustion save, then you're going to have to possibly have a psychic bond save, and if you fail that, then yeah, it's just going to be in your head.
Like you actually project, right, and then you just appear in the Elder Brain's lair.
Well, no, it's like while you're astral projection, the idea is your body stays still, and you have to even watch people look over your body while you sleep, right? So then you kind of walk off to go where you want to go to astrally project off to, right? Yeah. So you travel off, and you're meant to go through the ethereal domain, right? The border domain, where ghosts and stuff pretty much live, right? In the normal play. Okay, so you have to walk off through there, right? And you go off through your astral projecting off through the ethereal border domain, right? And then you would probably find that while you're doing that, it's like you got the feeling of like a ghost over your shoulder, you know, right? So it's like dragging you, and then when you look over, there's like nothing there, but you're sure that something was like following you while you're going there. Right, and yeah, if you got that whole sort of psychic bond thing going on, and you're doing that, maybe it just manifests that sort of like you just have the image of a brain in the soup, sort of like floating behind you as a sort of I don't know, horror effect. What was that effect in like this Doctor Strange movie where she's all coming out of the smoke in the vision, right? Professor X is in her vision, right? And then out of the smoke she comes, she's all scary and horror, right? And kind of like that. You got that sort of smoky sort of...
and snaps his neck.
Yeah, that was a bit, yeah, well, that's not necessarily going to happen. We're not going to go that far, all right? We won't just insta-snap you from the psychic bond. No, it's just meant to make you feel like you're being watched and observed, and you can't have... planned, yeah, and then you freak out and stuff like that and make you paranoid that you're being listened to and that, you know, right? It's not necessarily meant to have a more adverse mechanical effect than that, unless you keep failing. If you keep spellcasting and failing your DC 14 int check, then yeah, you're gonna keep taking exhaustion. You take 6 points of exhaustion in a row, like yeah, you're dead, right? So
but with the psychic bond, when you're actually fighting the Elder Brain, they can just end that psychic bond and you just have disadvantage.
I don't know. I think you just have it permanently until you make your save at the beginning of each 24 hours, so that it just constantly is aware, like a spy in the back of your mind that you just can't get rid of, that you want to. It's just boring there and chuckling and laughing at you. And then if multiple people have that going on, then you know it's going to make the one person who doesn't have that paranoid. They're like, well, I don't want to cast my spell. What if I end up like you guys? I don't want the thing in my brain, right? So it ends up almost being like a disease, like a contagion that could be floating around them.
The barbarians
I just turn into a seal. Yeah, I just put my seal thing on and go ape. I jump into the pool, full seal mode, right? Rage, right? Splashing around in all the little brains.
Yeah, and like, what if the barbarian turned into a seal and just decided to just nom the brains?
Sure, bonus hit point regen. Anyway, so this is where I've left enough pages to be able to draw the Abbey out as a plan, right? And we can draw it in here and make it clearer, so we don't have to, in the end, rely on this paper. We can just discard it, all right? So this is where it's going to be. But for today, and what we should be doing is actually some of these rooms.
4 rooms today.
So
5 rooms today.
5, I think it is, because I didn't want to make it too long, because we'd already had to get back to it, right? Have that catch-up video. So let's leave that there. Glass house. I want to start it off at the beginning, so you can see you can't really, you can. Okay. At the bottom here is a glass house, right? An enclosed space. I don't know if he wanted to put a plant in there, or I don't see why these guys would. And any of the actual living plants that we'd had before that weren't outright hostile were, yeah, crumble fruit ones. So you can just have an empty glass house in there. You could have a place for them to like go in and hide, and then just sort of like look out of the place. You have it all dusted up on the windows where you can kind of barely see out, but you know that people can't really see in. All right, so at least it gives them like a very sort of not a safe room, but at least a safe space. That you have an old glass house that nobody goes into.
The dumb barbarian that wanted to draw a smiley face with the dust.
Yeah. Everybody's having a meeting about why they should be quiet and what they need to, they need to go over to one of the guest dorms first and take out a couple over there because they saw a couple go in there, and then meanwhile the barbarian's drawing
the giant smiley face.
So the glass house is going to sit, and we're going to have the entrance here, and there's the big fence. All right, so on here we have it at the bottom. All right, we have a bit of a road that goes through. So on the side of the road at the beginning, at the bottom right, we have this glass house here. All right, and it's kind of a safe house. I'm gonna put the little quotation marks over the safe because it's not really safe, but it's got overgrown foliage inside, right? So overgrown with dead plants and stuff up along the walls and the glass work.
Imagine if somebody runs this and then like the DM gets them infected and then he tells them their actual latitude and longitude in real life and then their IP address.
Sure. You want to freak them out? And they're like, hey, that's where I live. I just looked that up. That's Googled my house.
And that's my IP address.
Okay, so very quickly, we have a glass house that has some safe house. It's got cover, overgrown with dead plants, windows frosted, dirtied over.
It looks like a dead plant that would be really crunchy, but like if you try to crunch it, it doesn't crunch.
Possible hidey spot. All right. Possible hidey hole. Okay, great. On the other side of the road, though, we have some gardens. All right, so that the place would be nice. Come into the monastery, into the abbey there, and on one side of the road at the beginning, you got like a nice little glass house over there to tour. On the other side, you got some gardens. All right, so let's put the wall back in there. That's the center road up to the abbey. All right, so we got a bit of roadway. That's the gate. All right, so we got the road, and the gardens are quite long. Now, did we want to put any? This is the thing. I don't want to put any live things. The illithids don't really need or want or would be interested in growing stuff. I do have a veggie herb garden place that I wanted to put like some herbs into for like poisons and stuff like that. But I was gonna say that most of this is dead. I was gonna say dead flowers.
Oh yeah, flowers and a couple of trees with crumble fruit.
Okay, and some central trees. Okay, so gardens, central trees, dead crumble fruit. So the idea is that any of these places that were living, vibrant growth places of nature have been just abandoned and of no use or interest to these people, right? To kind of show that. So the central trees are dead crumble fruit, sure. All right. And dead flowers, all in a garden row. Okay, so that's the idea there. Now, on the side of the glass house here, what they did have on that abbey design was some guest houses, right?
Are these gonna be the prisons, or?
And they had later on, the prison was going to be the workers' quarters, right? Because they have workers that come work for them. So the idea is that in the monastery life, they would probably have visitors come, and they have a guest house. They have a guest house, and that would probably have at least 2 nice rooms in it, right? So these are quarters. This is where you have illithids that would be living in here, all right? Probably, let's see, what do we got here for our lithids? I know I did write it down. Other than the normal mind flayers, we got some psionic variants that take it from a CR7 up to a CR8. We have some arcanists. These are ones that are usually outcasts that meddle in magic. They also have the Alhoon variant, which are also more magical. They're a CR10 variant, so
let's put
we'll have one of them in there. No, the Arcanist I was thinking of putting off with the Alhoon in the doctor's lab, which would be going to be our experimental lab and torture chamber place, all right? So where they experiment on things and turn you into different kinds of vampires and stuff like that. That's where they do their experiments. So I want those kind of guys over there. That's why they're kept in the colony. And there'll only be like one Alhoon and there'll only be one Arcanist, and they work together, all right?
Okay.
So they're over at the doctor's lab, okay? But we do have these normal ones. We do have psionics. There is these Lvl7, right? They're the bigger ones. They're a CR9. And I was going to use those for guards and specials.
Maybe
so
like a Lutheran.
Because what I was going to put is one of them over here in the cleansing chambers over here. Or in the transformation area. I'm going to put one over in the tadpole area, which was the schoolhouse. It gets turned into one. So I was going to have an Lvl7 over there.
And then we should just put one here, just spying on.
Let me see. One, two. No, well, I want one actually over to guard or be around in the pools, right? So I want one that was in that the sacrament room and the vestry, right? So I wanted one over here. So let me see. I'll put one in there. Lvl7 over there. All right. So what we can just do is, like I said, I just wanted a couple of normie ones as well.
Sure.
So because then that would give us three. We'd have one here, one there, one there. So we don't want to put them straight away in the room. We want to have introduction. So if they make it out of the glass house and they come into contact with an Lvl7 for the first time, it's not going to be one of the specialist ones that we're going to see later on. It's pretty much going to be basic ones. So they'll just be normal mind flayers in this one here.
Do you want me to see how many
that's where, yeah, go over and have a look on that calculator. All right, so we're going to have normal mind flayers in this upper guest house. So they're CR7. I'm thinking we can get away with at least two of them. And you might need to take away that row. All right.
CR7?
Yeah, 7. 2 of them. What's that give us?
What about 3? 3 is only a hard.
Well, okay. So what we want to do is maybe put 2 in there with some what's what I'm looking for? Some of the
intellect devourers?
Yeah, intellect devourers, and they're CR2s. All right. So maybe put 3 of those in there, and we can do the same kind of thing with the other quarters. Because these two houses were very close together.
I mean, we can put 5 in there and it's still a hard.
Well, okay, so what?
5 intellect
2 Lvl7s and 5
intellect devourers.
Okay, so what you would do is you would put 1 Lvl7 here and 1 Lvl7 there, and you'd put 2 intellect devourers like guard dogs or whatever in one room, and you'd put 3 in the other, right? So, you want to put, sure. What you could probably do is have, you could have these 2 Lvl7s, I don't know whether you want to split them up or put them in the same room. This is where I'm not sure about Lvl7 quarters, whether they dwell as singular entities or whether they sort of sleep in all the rooms together like a den, like animals in a pile, right? They probably have singular rooms. What about the other side then? So we've got an upper guest house. Do we want in the lower guest house, which would be made up of, instead of having 2 larger rooms, it would have 3 smaller rooms. So essentially you could hold a contingent of like 5 visitors here, right? So 1, 2, 3. So you could have, what does 3 illithids and 3 intellect devourers look like?
Three's only hard.
See, I think we want to keep it like that at the minute, because we don't want them. See, what happens if they spook one of these places, and you know they already know that something's on the warpath, right? They don't want to spook all 5 of these in one go. All right. So what I am thinking is we leave it. I think we leave it at that, right? We have two rooms in the upper guest house with illithids in it, and they have a whole heap of the devourers, right? So I got 5 there, sure. Mind flayers by 2, devourers by 5. Okay, but over here in the smaller rooms, we're gonna have, okay, mind flayers by 3 for each of the smaller rooms, and devourers by 3. They only have 1 of these little guard dogs each. All right, sure. But the problem is, so how many actions do these mind flayers get? Do they have multi-attack, or do they only have 1 action each round?
Mind flayer, that's an Alhu.
Oh no, you need to just look at the base one, which is in the monster manual. Hold on, over here. I think that page 222 that I was looking at earlier. Yeah, mind flayers. Alright, so they have an action where they can either use their tentacles or extract the brain or do a mind blast. Sure. And some of the more specialized ones can have better spells, and you know, the innate spell casting is more fleshed out. Alright, so that gives them 3, and the devourers, how many? Let me have a look at what page the devourers are on.
In the eyes.
In the eyes. 191. Alright. Actions. Multi-attack. See, they get to have 2 attacks essentially. 1 attack, yeah. I know, but the idea is, what happens if you get all 5 of these things attack 1 person? You know, right? They get so many attacks that they just overwhelm their AC and eventually get in enough hits, right? So you don't want to overwhelm it. So you got like 2 actions here and essentially another 5. I mean, that's not too bad, comparing it to what a group of at least 4 level 13s with companions could do.
Possibly.
Yeah, they probably have at least 2 companions. I think the idea is that they go in there and they just sort of will just flash an area very quietly and hope that it doesn't get out of control. You would want to put at least between the upper guest house and the lower guest house, you probably want to put at least, what's 50 feet? Meters? Yeah, you probably, well, that's about 120 to 200 feet, sure. So that there's enough room that you can't have them immediately intervene or just spawn in. Actually, you probably want to leave it probably closer to 150 to 250 feet, all right, in distance between these areas here. So what's in that space? I suppose you'd probably have put back in the day more gardens. There would have been like trellises and stuff like this to separate out the you know, the different classes of people and give them some manner of privacy. They would have had small herb gardens and stuff like that, right? So what have we got next? Very quickly, we're gonna move through. All right, we have done a glass house, the gardens, the upper guest house, the lower guest house. And the last one I'm going to do for today is the veggie patch. This is where I wanted to say that they actually are using the veggie patch still, but they are using it for, alright, I've got to make sure I'm in camera. They're using the veggie patch, right? Where does that sit? This sits over the back of behind the lower guest house, okay? So we got the glass house here, and the 2 guest house. At behind, we got a dining hall next to it. That's the tomorrow one. But yeah, the veggie herb sits behind the dining hall and behind the lower guest house. All right,
or the death potion ingredients.
Sure, that's exactly what we'll write down then. A veggie patch sits out the back behind the dining hall. So we've got like the transformation over here, transformation pools over here, and we got the guest houses, GG over here. So this veggie patch is, what did you say? Death potion ingredients. Okay. And poison.
Death or long sleepy time potion.
Oh, you want sleepy potions as well?
Yeah, so they can like knock them out.
Sleepy
and then
potion. Oh yes, sure. Sleepy potion, death potions.
And poisons.
General poisons. That'd be a great name for a bad guy in a comic book. General Poison. All right. So you got sleepy potion ingredients, death potion ingredients, general poison ingredients. Anything else? No.
Pot.
So, sure. See, if you wanted to and you wanted to be fair, you'd say that the group that inhabits the Illithids that are in the lower guest house, they're the workers for the veggie herb garden. So they're out there at the time. So that way you've got enough room and space that anything that happens here, they're not going to immediately be able to get on top of you. Because you will have to work quick. This is the thing. The elder brain knows everything that happens immediately here and can telepathy, like can communicate with her creatures and minions within the realm of her colony. So you have to find some way to cut off that connection, or you have to find some way to take these things out of the abbey, like to draw them out there and kill them, or you got to kill them quick, like hit and run and just like out attrition them. So you're like coming back every week. It's like, all right, how many Illithids do we have left to go? I'm sure we killed 8 last time, right? Sure, there can only be another 12 left in there, right? And it's like, this is where you get down to counting and knowing, all right, we know that there's still some over in the cleansing chambers because we saw them come from there. We know we saw some come out of the big building, the big church in the middle. We still have to clean that area out, right? So
you either do this as a loud mission or a stealth mission.
Excuse me. Yeah, you either go in very loud or you get the job done very quietly, probably over a series of time, right? Because you do have ways to escape. You can just get out over the fence and go back.
Yeah, just
well, this is all mountain ranges here, right? So there's a giant mountain.
What about here?
There's more mountain. It's set into a mountain, and like on the side of a mountain, like that's where you see in the movies, right? They're on the top mountain top. Well, this is where we've kind of come up along the cobblestone path up through a cut in the valley, like, and you've made yourself up to the giant monastery that sits at the top of the mountain. So this is all there. Like probably at the back would be open area that goes down the other side of the mountain or something, right? If you wanted to put this on top. But this is all mountain here and that's all mountain there. So you could scale over the top of it and escape back down the cobblestone path. So that's the idea, is you set up down there. You turn, maybe you set up at the manor first, and then you set up at the manor first, and then you set up at the plantation, at the orchard there, and then when you come to try and assault this place, you somewhere in between, or you use like the tunnels or whatever to get in, right? Or I don't think you'd want to take any kind of rest here. You wouldn't be able to take any kind of short rest or long rest inside the Abbey compound itself.
Guest rooms.
Yeah, but they know you're here. Oh, yeah. You wouldn't even get 5 minutes because they just send all of the Illithid at one go, and now you have to fight 20 Illithid rather than 4. You know, because that's why you're going to do it. You have to go in there, kill them, and cut them off, or find out a way to stop their communication. And so the Elder Brain don't know, because the Elder Brain knows you are here, so you're going to be sending things to kill you. Okay, so you have to. It'll be like a Metal Gear Solid stealth mission. You know. You got to crawl around the buildings to scope out where they are and don't get seen, because the second you do, you've blown the mission, because all of the alarms go off because the Elder Brain knows that you're there and all the Illithids are coming, right? So this is where we can put in a whole colony in and give them all room and have, 4 generals with their crew and give them places to patrol and work inside. But you don't want to go against the whole colony all in one go. Right, so
say someone has a black powder weapon, right?
Yeah.
And then they sneak up behind like an Lvl7, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they just like shoot it in the back of the head.
Okay, sure.
Well, would that like just outright kill it?
I don't know. Probably not, right? You have damage. You still have to.
Oh yeah.
Believe it or not, that I mean, you've got advantage on the roll. You know, you have the mechanics of the game. You still have to roll over their armor class. What happens if you just have bad rolls? You know, right? What happens if you? All right, I give you advantage on your roll to hit because you're stealthy. But you get 2 1s. Oh, unlucky. You'll have a misfire in the gun. You don't shoot nothing or kill nothing. If you can do, what's their hit points? They've got hit points, right? You get over there. Where's their stat block? 222. Can you cap an Lvl7 in the back of the head in 1 shot? 222. All right. Can you do 71 hit points in a single shot?
Probably.
On surprise. With a black powder weapon, I don't know, maybe if you're the right kind of rogue and you're getting surprise damage, and you know, right? If they, I don't know, I'm not sure whether what they have for weapon, whatever. There's assassins, there's monks that can quivering palm monks. I think at level, what level does the monk be able to get the 1-hit kill thing? Do you know about that or not?
That would be cool. Just like
Where's the
1-hit kill the Lvl7.
Like, we're really getting off track here, but one of them, the monk open hand technique, quivering palm, 17th level, I'm pretty sure. There you go. 10d10 worth of necrotic damage if it succeeds. If it fails, it's just 0 hit points. 17th level. So they're not quite there yet. They can't just... Monk can't just walk up and one-shot an Lvl7. The rogue might if they put out enough damage. I'm not sure what a black powder weapon in the right class could do for damage, maybe. But yeah, a monk would probably be a good way of like... See, what would happen is, say you can kill one of these things in 1 shot. What happens is the elder brain still knows because it's just like turning off a light on their panel. Oh, that Lvl7 went out. Well, what happened to my light? Lvl7 number 357, go over and check on Lvl7 number 342. You know what I mean, right? Like, they know that something's wrong.
True.
That's the problem. This is why this place is going to be a difficult,
encounter?
Not even an encounter. This is an ongoing siege. This is where you're going to have to roll in the Trojan horse and hope the Lvl7s let you in and go to sleep so you can slaughter them all in their tadpole pools, right? Like... There's no easy way around this place except for like hit and run tactics or extreme, like just you get if they've got enough magical weapons and armor by now, if they have enough followers, if they're willing to throw all their followers and everybody they brought along with them that's managed to survive, and they just want to have an open war at the gates with this thing, then they can do that.
And they found the name of the Yugoloth in the book.
Sure, they managed to bring a Yugoloth along with them,
No,
right?
they managed to bring the Yugoloth army in. Just like, come with me.
Yeah, that's right. They go back by the mirror that they didn't destroy because they have the name of a Yagnoloth, right? Sure, under their control, that they drag through an army with. And you want so you want their army to fight this army and
then it turns into a Warhammer battle.
Maybe it would at that point. It'd be like, all right, I load up on my army side. I have my 40 or 50 different pieces, and you guys, you know, the thing is, you have to still get down the cobblestone path, you know, and you have to get everything to travel into the Abbey way to sort of assault it and get into the back end, right? The final boss area at the back under that altar.
What if you just brought the mirror with you?
You kind of can't. It's attached by its magic to where it is, right? By taking it off or working it, then you destroy it. Aww. So that's where we were having, like, if you wanted to destroy it, that's one way to do it. It's just you'd have to dispel magic or you have to attack it. See, even taking it off the walls, you'd probably have to dispel the magic. And then if you dispel the magic of it being attached to the wall, then does not the portal fall apart as well from the magic holding it together? You know, right? I see what you want to do and just have a magical mirror you teleport as like a you know, right? An
Last
instant way.
resort.
Yeah. But no, it has to stay. It's magically attached to that root, because that whole house is the upside down house. That's where this whole sort of pivot is on, you know, right? It around that house and that mirror, because one is an equal copy, like an opposite copy of the other, you know, right? So if you remove the mirror from one, then you remove the mirror from the other and you break it entirely. And you might have to do that as an escape. But if you still have it there and you have the Lost name and somehow manage to control an army, you could bring an army through the manor, across the gap, down through the swamp, in through the plantation, down the cobblestone path, and then, yeah, lead an army into here. Sure, great idea. Oi, how'd we go? That's what we're doing for today. Let's do that. Okay, I think that's tomorrow's problem. That's the dining hall, and we're going to use that as a one of the transformation places, right? So we probably will. That's where we put the Lvl7 in, and it's going to be guarding in between the cleansing chambers or the transformation hall, and probably be guarding the prison. So that group,
Like
that cluster, will be guarding in here, depending on where you guys are coming from at any given time.
Oh, I thought you just roll a D3 and whichever one it lands on, that's where the Lvl7 is.
Maybe at the given day, sure. Like if you were like randomize it so you didn't automatically encounter it. But yeah, they definitely manage this area here. So yeah, all right. Well,
I think that's today.
Geez, I think we've done a lot. Sure, we've given boundaries to the colony, explained the influence of the elder brain. What's his name? James the Brain. We're going to draw the Abbey up into here as we get the rooms and the like scale sorted. We've done a glass house and gardens, which is dead and empty because they don't like gardens. They've taken the lower guest house and the upper guest house and turned them into quarters and dormitories for the elithids. There is the veggie patch, which is now corrupted poison patch. Okay. And tomorrow, from there, we can do the dining hall and the other buildings. If we take it long enough, if we get back, then yeah, we'll sort out what's happening between the dining hall, the transformation chamber, the cleansing chambers, the prisons. We'll have to put something into the prison because they'll have to have something that they want to do experiments on or suck brains out of. So we'll have to randomly generate some prisoners.
It was the youngest brother of the.
Yeah, no more tieflings. It wasn't. No.
Of the hair family.
Oh, you mean there's another Harangan that was kept alive the entire time in the prison and has never been turned into a vampire?
And didn't know what happened to his parents.
Oh, I think I like that idea. Sure, we might do something with that. All right, that'll be tomorrow. Next time.
Yeah.
Where are we? Say goodbye. Lord Blake, say goodbye. Thank you. Come, play, make story. Very good.
Do the thing.
What's Gus do? Does Gus do any noises?
No.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, sure, the thing. Comments and stuff down below. No hassles.
And we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Stay weird and stuff.